yeah, when you're making something that's more yourself or more personal, yeah, I think that's actually the best way to go. Where I know a lot of people, you're trying to just copy people. It'll get you a certain level, but yeah, at the end of the day, you want to be happy with yourself as well, and you want to also push your own boundaries and limits.
Psytrance is probably one of the hardest things to produce. Um, Sometimes I can throw a drum and bass track together in a day, or a techno track can take me a day to put together. But Psytrance, because it's so specific in the sounds, to try be unique at the same time, and to try, obviously the songs are also longer. Like, other commercial songs are only like 3 minutes long, and now you've got to come up with a 7 minute song, and it's got to be, top quality the whole way through.
Yes.
Just one bad sound can throw the track off, because it's proper dance music. So, as soon as you kill the buzz or kill the vibe in the song, you're like, flip, I need to start over or I need to fix it. So,
Mm.
yeah, and I think also I'm just very critical of myself. So, because I would say other electronic genres have less layers, it's also a lot more difficult to try and mix and produce psytrance because you have so many layers and so many sounds coming at you that you all want them to sound lacquer and you want them to all be present in the mix. But
Mm.
it's not always that easy. It's not as simple as I would say as other genres.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly believe Psytrance artists are the greatest artists in the world because when I started as well, like when I started producing Psytrance and then I tried like a bit of techno because I love like that hypnotic techno, like that driving, that consistent stuff. When I
Yeah,
tried that, it was yo, I could also put a track together like in a day, and I had like basically no like experience in producing. So like when I started with
yeah,
Psytrance, I was like, I was just so like why are Psytrance artists not as respected as what they deserve? Because there's so much that goes into a track. Like there's so many different layers, there's so many different channels, there's so many different things going on, and to put that all together into one thing is beautiful. It's like a story that's just like coming together, and that's just one track.
yeah, exactly. No, you hit the nail on the head there. It's almost like a culmination of everything has to be perfect for it to actually be a complete
Mm,
track. Whereas
mm,
sometimes other genres, if you just got a good kick and bass going or a good bass line and some drums, the people are already dancing. But,
mm.
psytrance people are looking to almost expand their minds. So you've got
Exactly.
to you've got to surprise them, but at the same time make them feel at home.
Definitely, it's very unique and it's very like personal because everyone's
Yeah.
music is different. I know a lot of guys like try to replicate like the bigger guys, obviously because it sounds so good. But I think if you make it personal, it can connect with different people at different levels.
Yeah, exactly. No, we each got our own story to tell. So, if I have any advice to anyone starting out, it's, be yourself. Like, try get
Mm.
your own sound going. One of my good friends, actually, Sam Ganji, Sidewise.
Yeah.
He actually taught me Ableton before I was actually on Fruity Loops, and this was still when I was living in the Garden Route, and
Mm.
yeah, I was like, geez, Sam, you're gonna blow up one day, I promise you. Your sound is so unique and so grabbing.
Mm.
And, it eventually did. He's one of my favorite producers now because he has his own style and his own way of doing things. And
Mm.
yeah, I think it's possible for anyone if you actually just, do things your own way. It'll eventually it'll pay off. People will start coming to look for you.
Definitely, yeah. He's playing at like every single party that's happening in Cape Town, so he's definitely blowing up. And I think he's with Purple Hexagon Records now, right?
Yeah, he's actually on a few labels. Yeah, he's the same as me. He makes a lot of different genres, even hip hop and stuff like that. So, I think by bringing in some of your own flavors and some of your own tastes, it's uh, very encouraging. I think
Mm.
even in some of my tracks, I bring in reggae, I bring in hip hop, I bring in jazz, all the elements of music that I like, because I know, not everyone just, outside of the parties, we all listen to our own music anyway. We all got our own
Mm.
tastes. Some people, psytrance is just for partying. So yeah, I know a lot of people don't just love psytrance. So it's nice to bring in some other elements as well.
How long did it take you before like you felt like your music was worthy of like other people listening to it? Because a lot of us are perfectionists. A lot of us don't want to like just put out our music until we feel like it's done. But a lot of us also like it never gets to the point where it's done because you can always like
Yeah.
add something new. So how long was it for you before you felt like I want to release my music now and I want to show the world what I'm creating?
Oh, geez, that took a while to be honest. I mean, I think music in the beginning when I started producing was a very personal thing. I don't think I ever used to share any of my tracks. It was only when the one label, Pistolero, came and approached me and they said, "Well, look, I like what you're doing. It's very unique and it's different to what other people are making." Then I actually was like, "Oh, okay, flip, maybe someone will like my music." But I think in the beginning, a lot of us are very self-critical, because you know there's a lot of good music out there. So I think in the beginning it's a bit daunting because you're like, flip, like how do these guys get so good? And I think even me, like after producing for a number of years now, I still think I've got many years to go till I'm happy with my music. So I think it's, you know, as an artist, I think you always, you know, I think even Van Gogh, he was not happy when he died, but he was like, yes, I could do a lot better than what I've done, you know. So I think as an artist, you're always your own biggest critic. And I think it's a good thing because, you know, you need to always push yourself to be better.
Mm. Yeah, and it's finding that balance between like it's ready and it's not, and not like
Yeah,
working yourself
exactly.
into a grave
No,
that you
sometimes,
like.
yeah, sometimes you just need to pull the trigger. I mean, there's some tracks I've been like, yes, I flipping hate this track. I think I'm just gonna bin it. And then you send it off to someone and they're like, flip, I love this track, you know? So it's, you know, sometimes you really are your own worst enemy, but I think it's a good thing at the same time.
I think also it's because you're listening to it over and over because you want to get it right, and when you listen to it so long, it becomes a bit boring to you. And then like when you show someone else and they're like, "Damn, bro, this is good," and you just like, "I've heard it so many
Yeah.
times, like I'm bored of it."
No, that's exactly how it happens. Some of my tracks, there's some tracks you know, I spend a little bit of time on, and some of the ones that you spend months and months on, because the thing that you actually first liked about the track has become so boring. You know, you're like, flip, this track is boring, and then someone else hears it and they're like, wow, like that's next level. So yeah, sometimes you just have to move on to the next track.
And then like your production process, like how does it work? Like what do you start with? Do you first get an idea and then you take that idea to your door like Ableton, or do you just like sit down and just start making music? Like what's your creativity process?
Oh, geez, it varies, eh? It depends. Some days, you know, when you're not feeling creative, but you do have the time, you like think, okay, flip, like I need to actually just get some stuff down. So some days I'll just spend doing sound design, recording a bunch of different random sounds, trying to make my own sample packs and stuff that I can utilize later. And then some days I'll hear something on the radio or on a track and I'll be like, yes, flip, I need to put this in like in a Psytrance track. And then some days, you know, the ideas they just flow and you don't actually have enough time. You spend like 24 hours wide awake, not stopping until the track's done. And yeah, other days there's no creative juice. So on those days I'll sit down and work on something completely different. You know, I'll be like, okay, let me do some sound design or let me work on some drums or let me do something a little bit different. So I think, you know, as an artist, you kind of always you need to keep busy anyway, but you know, you can't always paint the picture. Sometimes you just need to do the outlines and you just need to, you know, mess around and have fun and try find that spark again.
Mm. So do you like work on multiple tracks at different times, or do you, like you said, you go through it where you can just like sit down and finish a track, but most of the time, are you working on multiple tracks at different times, or do you focus on one and want to finish that?
That's also, oh, it depends. At the moment, I'm actually working on a psytrance track, a dark prog track, and a drum and bass track, but that's only because the well's a bit dry at the moment, so I'm trying to just work on a few different things. But sometimes also there's like, you know, if you have a deadline, you like, flip, I really just need to work on this track. And sometimes I'll just be focused and I'll just sit and work on that track day and night. Yeah, it really depends. Like sometimes when I'm feeling very creative, just jump in and out of tracks, no problem. Other times it's, I kind of actually have to get back into it, kind of have to force myself. It's like sometimes it's like going to work on the Monday, the Monday's coming, but you still like flip. I've got to go put in the work anyway. Um, and obviously, like I said, Psytrance sometimes takes so long to complete a track that you feel like you're falling behind if you don't do anything. So yeah, I would say I'm quite busy on the production side all the time. Because for me,
Nice.
music production is also like my medicine and my meditation. So yeah, it's nice to unplug and just make some beats sometimes without any intention behind it.
You mentioned like you have deadlines sometimes. Is that like from the record labels that contact you and say, hey, can you make a track for us? Or do you kind of go to them with the track that you're working on and say, this is what I'm working on. I think it would be a good idea for you.
I first started off, getting into making music for labels and stuff. It was kind of like that. I kind of made tracks and sent them off and said, "Do you like this or do you like that?" But I think now over the last year or two, people have started picking up onto my sound. So now I've been offered a lot of, people normally approach me to go onto VAs and stuff, which I normally
Nice.
grab with both hands because it's nice to actually work on work on a VA because you get to meet other artists and that's how you end up collabing and working with other artists. And that's actually how I've grown the most, is actually, sending project files between other artists and seeing how they work and them seeing how you work. You actually learn a lot more. Because I think psytrance compared to other genres, a lot of artists are very private about their production, and they have their secrets that they keep very close to them. So it's quite quite funny compared to other genres where it's like hip hop and stuff. There's a lot of YouTube tutorials online where you can just pick it up and start producing. Well, fair enough. I think in the last year or two, there's been a lot more production videos for Psytrance on YouTube. But
Yeah.
when I started, there was literally nothing really. You kind of had to know someone to know someone to, even know how to throw basic kick and bass together. So I think it's become a lot more open for people to start. I would say if you want to
Definitely.
start producing, now's the best time because there's a lot of information and there's a lot of people that are into it now. So yeah, I think the future looks bright for any kind of young producer.
Yeah, I think you can learn like basically anything online, like for free. If you look hard enough, you can literally find anything that you want to do.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't think there's like any excuse to not go after what you want to do because if you have a laptop and you have internet, you can literally find anything.
No, exactly. I mean, geez, I never knew anything about coding. And in my previous job, I ended up teaching myself coding and, doing a whole bunch of IT stuff that I've never done in my life before, which is great. It's empowering. Like the tools are all out there. You just need the motivation and, make the time to go and do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned that when you started producing, you didn't release any of your tracks, and there was like a record label that came to you and said, "This is something different, and we like it." How did they find you? Did your friends maybe post your track for you, or did you just post it on your SoundCloud?
No, I had SoundCloud, but I didn't really share my SoundCloud. It was kind of just a place for me to keep my tracks on. Um, and yeah, then um, Zvane from Pistolero, he approached me and he says, "Well, look, we make all kinds of, because it's actually quite a freestyle label. They make anything from breakbeat to techno to psytrance to dark prog, like all the in-betweens." So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to express myself upon, multiple genres. I'm not being boxed and told, okay, you have to make this specific nighttime sound or this specific daytime sound. So I think in the beginning that kind of, if I'd have to give advice to someone, it's, keep your book open. If you're not sure what it is you actually want to achieve at the end of the day, from your music, I would say maybe don't sign to a label. Maybe find what it is that you actually like and who you want to sound or what you want to be. Find your own sound and then take it from there. And if it's, you put the hours in and you put the work in, eventually people will they'll come find you.
Definitely. So focus on yourself, focus on your music, and like once you feel like it's ready, then let it out. But don't kind of like just go for the label because you might like lose yourself and your creativity and what makes your music unique if you're gonna try and like fit it into a package when you might not be
Yeah,
ready.
exactly. Exactly. Some labels have very specific requirements or sounds, and sometimes that might not even be what your skill set is, you know. So in the beginning, it might be great to, kind of grow into that role, but I think long term as an artist, you're kind of boxing yourself a little too early. You might be also underselling yourself because you think, okay, well, this is as good as it gets, I just need to, I get the first offer, I need to take it. Sometimes that's not always the best thing.
So you obviously, like you said, now you're making quite a name for yourself. You have labels like approaching you, and you have obviously a lot of releases like on different labels. How did you get signed to Erebos, and how did you like get involved with World People production, and like what made you kind of choose them?
Well, first, it was kind of similar to the first one. Erebos also just approached me, and they said they like what I do. I've got a unique sound. They would like me to make more of it. So yeah, kind of just I was like, if someone supports my creativity, then I'm definitely going to be supporting them as well.
And then like
And
what's the biggest benefit for you what's the biggest benefit that you've had so far while you've been with both of them, with Erebos and with World People production?
I'd say getting well, obviously we had COVID, which was obviously terrible for us artists, but obviously being on labels then at that time, there obviously was a lot of live streams, and that way I actually got a lot more eyes on my music than I would generally get just in South Africa. So yeah, I think I would kind of expose myself to a more international market. And then I found now that, most of my listeners are from, Japan or Brazil or India. Um, so yeah, it's nice to actually, be recognized in other countries other than your own home country.
Okay, so you think that it creates more exposure for you when you're with a label as opposed to like when you're with yourself because you can obviously leverage the audience that they already have and it kind of lets you get more feedback on your music so you can see like where the people actually like your music more over the world
Yeah,
faster.
exactly. I mean, obviously the dance floor is the best place to get feedback. You want to see, when you see what you want to see if a track works or if it doesn't work. But obviously dance floors are different around the world as well. So it's nice to, test it out to a few different ears. Some people like more of a nighttime dark kind of sound. Some countries, they like prefer the bouncy stuff. So yeah, it's for me, it's just helped me grow as an artist because, I'm able to now make, different kind of feels of tracks. I can make some bouncy ones, I can make some dark ones, I can make some melodic tracks. Um, and yeah, it's nice just to test it out in different countries and just get some feedback. One of my good friends, he's a DJ in Japan, and he's probably where I test most of my music because he plays. Japan has quite a big scene where every weekend they've got a party, whether it's winter or summer. So yeah, he's normally the first person I send my tracks to, and it's nice to connect with people from around the world to get a different sense of feedback because yeah, I've DJed a few parties in South Africa, and I kind of already know what people like, but it's nice to expose yourself to other different dance floors.
So if you had like an opportunity to go like anywhere in the world and play at any festival, would you go to Japan?
Yeah, geez, I would love to go to Japan. I'd obviously like to go to Modern Fest as well. Um, Assuming I'm signed to a Croatian label, that's obviously the next step. But yeah, no, I've actually played in London before. I played in Vietnam. Um, yeah, so I've played in a few different countries, and yeah, it's just nice to gauge a different crowd and to see your music connect, not just locals to connect for other people to dance as well. Then you're like, okay, cool. I might be onto something here.
So, like, where do you see like your glyph act? Because you have three different acts. You have Hydra, Spliffix, and Cosmo Glyph. So, you first want to
Yeah.
explain like what the difference is between all three of your tracks for the guys, all
Okay,
three of
cool.
your
Well, my
acts.
first. my first one is Cosmoglyph, which is kind of my mix mash of everything really. I make hip hop on there, I make lo-fi, I make drum and bass. Yeah, that's kind of where it's my creative pot where I throw all my other stuff there.
Nice.
And then Hydrosplefics was actually my first act that I got signed for. And that's mainly techno, psy-techno, dark prog, psygressive, xenon kind of stuff. Um, and yeah, then basically about 2 years ago, I was like, geez, I actually would like to make some Foster music. So yeah, that's when I started the Glyph alias, and then that pretty much immediately got signed by World People Productions. So I was like, okay,
Nice.
cool. Maybe there's space for me to do all of them. Although I'm not going to lie, I would say, if you really want to become big, you kind of, I would say, focus on one genre and one alias. Whereas for me, that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking to be famous. I love just making music and I like testing myself in all different genres. So, if I get a kickback out of that or I get some exposure, then it's just a bonus for me.
Yeah, you're just looking to express yourself and like bring your personality through to your music. It doesn't really matter to you like how big you know,
Yeah,
how big of a
exactly.
name
I'm
you
not
make for
really in it
yourself.
for the money or in it for the fame. For me, I just love the scene itself. So, I want to try bring kind of new sounds and new music to the scene and expose, you know, there's a lot of people I'd say that are almost still waiting on the edge to join our tribe, but sometimes they just need a slight push. And I think by, fusing a few different genres or bringing in a few other elements from other genres, you can actually, bring more people to the party. And I think, it's only going to be better for all of us artists in general, if you kind of break the stigma that's around Psytrance as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very good point. So I think lastly, ending off, where can guys find you? Where are you most active on social media?
Oh, geez, that's probably my biggest downfall. I'm not very active on social media.
Mm,
But yeah, you can get me on Instagram, SoundCloud, Facebook. And yeah, I'm working on my YouTube at the moment, trying to make some more visuals and, music video kind of things to accompany the music because obviously
mm,
psychedelic is something that tingles all the senses. So I
mm.
found, to be nice to actually do some more visual stuff as well with the audio. So I've kind of just
Nice.
been trying to diversify at the moment and just yeah, like I said, if you make psytrance or psychedelic music more appealing to the public.
Yeah, so it becomes a bit more commercial and people don't kind of like frown upon it as much as they do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't want to bring everyone into it because not everyone understands it. But, there's a lot of people I think that, because of their preconceptions, they're actually just holding themselves back from having fun.
Mm. Yeah, I think Psytrance people are the most friendly people I've ever met in my life. Like, majority of my friends that I've met at Psytrance party have become like family to me. So I just think that people don't have the right perception because they don't know what it is. They've never like experienced it, and so they just like judge it, which is bad. But I mean, it's also good because it just like keeps them out from joining our community.
Exactly. I mean, the best analogy I can say is like, for example, if you want to go to a country, say for example England or France or whatever, you have all the resources to learn about it, to read about it, see all the pictures, but until you actually go there, you have no flipping clue what it's like. I know like my family all lives in the UK, so previous to me going to the UK, I thought I knew exactly what it's all about, and as soon as you get there, it's like you throw all those preconceptions out the window because as much as you read about it, as much as you think you know about it, until you've actually experienced it, um, yeah, it's a whole other world.
That's so true. That's so true. I think to end off, where can what can they expect from you in the next 3 months? Are you playing at any like festivals or do you have any tracks that's coming out that they should be waiting for?
Oh yeah, geez, I've got a lot of tracks coming out soon. I'm on the next two VAs for Padang Records, so you can expect some nice dark prog bangers. And
Nice.
then I'm working on two Glyph EPs. I've got my next one for World People Productions, and then there's another label called Psy World. They're also really keen for me to do an EP. And then, yeah, now that I'm in Joburg, I'm hoping to play at a few of the Ubuntu parties. Stefan's doing some really great stuff there at the moment. So, yeah, probably got a few gigs coming up in December and then probably in February and March as well. And then I'm also planning my first, what I call a European tour, next year in July.
Nice.
I've been booked at a, well, preliminary booked at a party in Portugal, but I'm still waiting for
Congrats.
confirmation. Oh, thanks, man. And then I've also got playing at a club in Croatia. So yeah, I'm just trying to line up all the gigs. Yeah, I just take it as it comes.
Super busy. So
Hopefully,
it's
if I
gonna
just get a
be,
few, if I get a few gigs just to cover my ticket, then I'm stoked.
yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be like a good end of year for Glyph and a very good like 2023 for you.
Yeah, no, Flip, I'm excited. I've been taking it easy the last few months. But now I've thrown myself full steam back into it. Because I think for the last, yeah, I haven't really been looking at DJing for since COVID. So yeah, now I'm pretty keen to get back into it. I would say because I like to play my own music. So, I've been trying to build up enough tracks where I can actually have a few different sets. I think being a DJ, it's a lot easier when you're not playing your own music because you have, you know, thousands of tracks to choose from. So it's often a lot easier to make the perfect mix, as they say. Whereas when you're playing your own music, you don't have as many tracks to play. So it's actually quite a lot harder to sort of craft your own set and to, make something special. So I think if you want to play your own music, it's gonna take a bit of a while till you have enough tracks that are good enough so you can actually, make an impression.
So you can complete the story. So you can complete that perfect mix that gets everyone going and just has the perfect ups and downs and just
Yeah,
takes the
exactly.
dance floor on
Like
another
the
level.
best sets are music, sometimes you haven't heard before, but you also want something a bit familiar as well. So as like a set is kind of a journey and you can't just go full force all the time, you gotta take them on a roller coaster and you
Definitely.
can't have the ups without the downs. So yeah, I think anyone that's getting into producing or into DJing, now's the best time. Just throw yourself in there. You got nothing to lose.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. I appreciate your time. I'm a big fan of your music and I'm super excited to hear what's going to be coming out in the next few months. And I'm super excited to see you on the stages in Europe. I hope you're going to send me some videos and put it on your Instagram so we can all see.
Yes, I usually know it. You know it. And I love what you're doing as well. So yeah, I know some good things are going to be coming out of your way soon. So I'm very stoked to be part of it, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. See you.
Sweet. Thanks, brother.